My sister and I awakened two systems at the same time. One is the erase system. It consumes stamina to erase literally anything. The other is the hoarding system with a storage space. As her older brother, I felt bad for my sister who'd been weak since childhood. So I picked the erase system that overdraws physical strength. My sister chose the hoarding system. No one expected that a week later. The apocalypse hit. Extreme cold and zombie hordes ran rampant. I fought like crazy erasing zombies with the erase system, and soon became the hero of the city. While my sister could only work as a warehouse keeper in the rear, it was during one zombie horde attack. I got badly hurt and collapsed. When I needed supplies to save my life, I found my sister had locked the safe house tight. She stared at me coldly. "Why do you get to be the hero?" While I'm stuck being a warehouse keeper. When I opened my eyes again, my sister had already grabbed the erase system first. Seeing that, I knew she'd been reborn too. I smiled. She had no idea what the cost of the erase system is. Using the erase system consumes a ton of stamina. Even with my super strong physique, I'd be as weak as if I'd had a bad illness after using it. As for a spoiled princess like her who can't even open a bottle cap, using it once would probably leave her bedridden for 3 days. I'd just opened my eyes when I heard my sister say, "Bro." I called dibs on the red one. She looked like a kid scared of having her toy snatched away, and reached out fast for the erase system on the right. The second her finger touched the red icon, a wild, ecstatic grin spread across her face. In this life, it's my turn to be the hero everyone admires. Then she turned to look at me, her eyes full of smugness and contempt. "Silly bro, you don't know yet, do you? The strongest power is already mine. This life, it's your turn to beg me." I walked slowly over to the abandoned hoarding system. "Ching Ching, are you sure you want that one? It looks like a combat-type power. It'll be super tough." Now that she'd gotten the godly power, Jing Ching was full of herself to the extreme. She flipped her hair and pretended to be sensible, saying, "Bro, I've figured it out. You've protected me ever since we were little. This time it's my turn to protect you. I'll handle all the dirty, tiring fighting work. That gold one is probably just a storage space, right? It's perfect for someone careful like you. You can just take care of logistics." "Protect me?" I sneered in my heart. "You just want to turn me into your tool. Then just like I protected you in the last life, squeeze every last bit of value out of me, right?" I ignored her. Reached out and tapped the golden symbol in front of me. Then a warm golden light wrapped around me instantly. System binding successful. Host Jingbu Fan. Ability, unlimited. Hoarding level, beginner. Time until apocalypse, 167 hours, 59 minutes. Meanwhile, Jingqing, who'd finished binding, was over the moon, waving her arms at the air. The crystal ashtray on the coffee table vanished instantly. Jingqing's face went pale. She clutched her chest and gasped for breath. But then an ecstatic look crossed her face again. "It's real! It's actually real! I have that power now!" She turned to look at me. No trace of her usual dependence in her eyes. Just unmasked arrogance. "Bro, I'm a little tired. Get me a glass of water, and give me the bank card Mom and Dad left. I need to go buy some stuff to prepare." Her tone was like she was ordering a servant around. I stared at this biological sister who pushed me into the abyss in my last life, and slowly spat out one word. Scram. The air froze in that second. The smile on Jingqing's face froze. She even thought she'd misheard. Ever since we were kids, I'd always given her everything she wanted. "Bro, what did you just say? Are you still mad at me for snatching that red system?" "But I did it to protect you." I said, "Get out." I stood up, looking down at Jingqing from above. "Besides, this is my house. My name is on the property deed. You have 10 minutes to pack your things and get the hell out." "Are you crazy?" Jingqing finally dropped her act. "This is Mom and Dad's house. What gives you the right to kick me out? Plus, I awakened the strongest superpower now. Do you know what that means? The apocalypse is coming soon. I'm the only one who can protect you. If you piss me off now, I won't lift a finger to help you even if you beg me later." She was way too confident, thinking I'd still kiss up to her like I did in the last life. I smiled and walked towards Jingqing step by step until she was backed into the corner. Strongest superpower. I slammed my fist hard into the wall next to Jingqing's ear. With a loud bang, Jingqing screamed in fright, crouched down with his head in his arms. "The so-called power you have is just making your ratty clothes disappear."
Have you forgotten?
"Your power only works to erase things. It can't create any food. The temperature will drop to minus 60 degrees Celsius in 7 days. Without food and warm clothes. Even if you can make the whole building disappear, you'll still freeze to death or starve." Jingqing trembled all over. He had indeed overlooked this problem, but he quickly craned his neck and yelled, "So what? I can rob people. Whoever dares to refuse to give me supplies, I'll make him disappear. What's the use of you guarding that lousy warehouse anyway? You'll still have to rely on me then, won't you? Oh, really? Good luck to you then. I didn't bother arguing with him anymore. I walked up to the front door and pulled the door open. Get out right now. Otherwise, I'll call security to drag you out. Don't forget we're still under the rule of law now. I can call the cops for trespassing. Xing stared at my resolute back. The venom in his eyes was almost spilling over. Fine, very good. Since you're being so heartless, don't blame me for being ruthless. When the apocalypse comes, let's see how you beg me with all that junk you have. Jingbu fan, don't you regret it? Jingbo rushed into the room, shoved a few random clothes and jewelry into the suitcase, dragged the suitcase and stormed out the door furiously. Before leaving, he glared at me fiercely. In this lifetime, I'll make you die in front of me like a dog. The front door slammed shut with a thud. I leaned against the door panel and let out a long breath of stale air. First step of separation completed. Now that I'm rid of that ungrateful backstabber who'd betray me any time, I can finally go all out now. Then I took out my phone and glanced at the time. 10 a.m., January 15th, 2026. Exactly 7 days until the apocalypse hits. I listed my house worth around 8 million RMB on the internet for sale at 20% off. Plus the inheritance left by my parents. I had roughly 11 million RMB total to build a doomsday fortress that can withstand minus 70 degrees Celsius and fend off zombie hordes. I also need to stock up on enough supplies to last me several lifetimes. This little money is barely a drop in the bucket. Then I called the bank and mortgaged all my company shares and my current house. Then called several private lenders. After that, I maxed out all major online lending platforms and all my credit cards. I was like a crazy gambler. In just one afternoon, my available cash had reached 16 million RMB. That's about enough. Looking at the numbers in my bank account, the dizzying string of digits, I didn't feel excited at all. All I felt was a sense of urgency. Money is just waste paper. Only when you exchange it for supplies is it your life. I drove the off-road vehicle I hadn't had time to sell yet and headed straight for the suburbs. My goal was very clear. The abandoned cold chain logistics park in the west suburbs. It used to be the largest cold storage base in the city. It was abandoned later after the owner ran off with the money. That place is very remote, with open terrain around it, easy to defend and hard to attack. In my past life, it was occupied by a gang and became one of the largest survivor bases in the later period. It's mine in this lifetime. I found the old man guarding the site and directly pulled out 20,000 RMB in cash and told him I wanted to rent it to set up a horror escape room venue for half a month. No contract needed, I only wanted the key. Seeing the thick stack of red bills, the old man grinned so wide his dentures almost fell out and handed over the key without a second thought. The second I got the key, I locked the gate from the inside and walked into the huge underground cold storage. Though it had been abandoned for 2 years, since it's 10 meters underground, it was still cold and damp inside. Its area is about 3,000 square meters, with a ceiling height of 8 meters. System, scan the current space. I mumbled in my mind. Scan completed. Semi-enclosed underground space detected. Meets basic requirements for safe house renovation. Do you want to enable space anchoring? After anchoring, this space will serve as a material transfer station in the real world. You can use your mind anytime to teleport external materials directly here, or release materials from the system space here. Anchoring done, the site is secured. Next step is to fill it up. I drove straight away to the largest agricultural and sideline products wholesale market in the city and started buying supplies like crazy. My crazy shopping spree took the entire wholesale market by storm. A mysterious young guy was buying stuff like he was running a bulk wholesale business. My bulk purchases even caught the attention of the market management office, but I already had a whole excuse ready. I told them, these supplies are for several large mines in remote mountain areas, as their annual material reserve. Besides, the mountain passes will be sealed soon, so I have to get everything ready in these few days. In this era where money makes the world go round, as long as you pay enough, no matter how ridiculous your excuse is, people will still play along for you. Night fell. The first batch of heavy trucks loaded with supplies drove into the abandoned factory in the western suburbs. After all the workers finished unloading and left, I locked the iron gate again. Inside the huge cold storage, piles of supplies stacked up like small hills. I walked to the 5-meter-tall mountain of rice, raised my hand, pressed my palm against the bottom rice bag and thought, collect. Then the 50-ton mountain of rice in front of me vanished into thin air instantly. I closed my eyes and sent my full consciousness into the system space. I saw that in that infinite white space, 50 tons of rice was floating quietly in midair, keeping the exact stacked shape it had just now. Time is frozen here, even after 100 years. The rice will still taste exactly as fresh as it does now when cooked. Hell yeah, I couldn't help growling in a low voice. This feeling of taking everything under your control, the thrill of holding all the power, is absolutely addictive. But this is just the beginning, when the extreme cold of minus 60 degrees hits, without any heat source. These foods will be as hard as frozen stones. I contacted a friend again to buy 10,000 tons of anthracite and diesel, as well as solar panels and generators. There are only 7 days left. I not only need to fill this cold storage with enough food to last 10 lifetimes, but also turn it into a constant temperature fortress that even nukes can't blow up. Right at this moment, I got a message on my phone. The sender was Jing Qing. The content was a photo. In the photo, she and her senior Chen Shu were sitting in a high-end French restaurant. Poor brother, after getting kicked out of the house. You can only eat instant noodles, right? My senior and I are celebrating our new life. If you kneel down and beg me now, I might consider giving you a piece of bread. I stared at the screen. A mocking smile curled up at the corner of my mouth. Eat up, eat as much as you can. This is the last meal of your lives. That can be called a proper human meal. I casually replied with 2 words, dress warm, then blocked her directly and turned off my phone. I stood on the suspended iron corridor on the 2nd floor. Dozens of workers were like worker ants, busy working inside the belly of this steel behemoth. Boss, your requirements are a bit too much, aren't they? The one who spoke was Lao Hei. He used to be the most resourceful construction contractor around. Right now, he was staring at the densely packed blueprint in his hand, and Lao Hei had a super constipated look on his face. The entire building needs 50 cm thick aerospace-grade aerogel insulation layer installed. And on top of that, you want 2 layers of 20mm bulletproof steel plates lined inside. Is this spec for defending against atomic bombs? Or Godzilla? Also, you want all the original vents sealed completely. Only leave 2 that are fitted with biochemical filtration systems as air intakes. Lao Hei wiped the sweat off his forehead. Buddy, this is going to cost a fortune. The money has already been transferred to your account. 5 million as advance payment. I want you to finish the work in 3 days. All materials must be in stock. If there's no stock, take them from other construction sites. I'll pay triple the price to make up the difference. I turned around and stared into Lao Hei's eyes. There's only one rule. Don't ask why. No photos, no posting on WeChat moments. I'll give you another 2 million hush money after the work is done. Lao Hei's Adam's apple bobbed violently. 7 million, that's equal to his usual profit from 2 years. Sure thing, boss. You're my real dad. Since you're being so straightforward, I, Lao Hei, will be frank with you too. If I can't finish the work in 3 days, I'll cut my head off and let you kick it like a ball. Watching Lao Hei's back as he ran off full of energy, I felt nothing at all. What I'm building isn't just a shelter. It's an ecosystem completely independent of the apocalypse. I walked to the corner of the factory building. A batch of newly delivered special goods was piled there. The huge wooden crate was pried open, revealing the dull metallic luster inside. This isn't ordinary steel. It's high-voltage power grid equipment I got through special channels, generators and military-grade, explosion-proof glass. In the early days of the apocalypse, the scariest thing isn't zombies, it's human nature. When hunger and cold drive people to become beasts. Ordinary rolling shutters in front of rioters are as fragile as paper. The system stores all these building materials, then makes minor spatial adjustments per the blueprint positions. While the workers are away having meals, I lightly tap my finger against those heavy blast-resistant glass panels. Dozens of tons of supplies vanish in an instant. Then, under the precise control of the system, fit seamlessly into the skylight spot on the factory roof. As the last construction truck drives away, the huge iron gate slowly closes. Standing in the middle of this fully mined steel fortress, looking at the mountain of supplies filling the whole room. Still far from enough? Far from enough. I glance at my phone. There's less than 500,000 left in my balance. My purchasing power through formal channels is all dried up. Next up is the $0 looting spree night. Donggang Bonded Logistics Center at 2 a.m. It's the city's largest import and export goods distribution hub. Tens of thousands of shipping containers are stacked on the dock like building blocks, filled with top-tier goods shipped from all over the world. In one night, I nearly emptied half the high-value warehouses in the bonded zone until a slight stinging pain hits my brain. That's the warning for overusing my mental power. Reluctantly, I stop while still wanting more, just as I'm about to leave. Suddenly, a loud roar of engines breaks the quiet of the night. A few black modified off-road vehicles zoom into the port and stop in front of a hidden warehouse not far away. The car doors open. Over a dozen tattooed men get out. The bald guy leading them is yelling at his underlings to move the goods. "Hurry up," Brother Long said. "This shipment has to be moved out tonight." The higher-ups are watching closely lately. The boxes they're moving have prominent hazardous material signs printed on them. I squint and activate the system's long-range scan. Scan result, TNT, explosives, detonators, industrial nitric acid. It's weapons. My heart skips a beat. This is the largest local gang force, the Black Shark Gang's smuggling base. Looking at the TNT that can not only blow up zombies, but also blast through any defensive fortification, I lick my lips. This is literally a free gift dropped right at my door. With these explosives, I've got my final trump card. Since I ran into this, well, sorry, not sorry, I quietly use the special feature of the system space and sneak around to the back of the warehouse. I press my hand against the thin, color steel panel wall of the warehouse, near the ground. This distance is exactly within the system's collection range. System, lock on all explosives inside the warehouse. Collect all of them. Inside the warehouse, the underling moving goods just sees a flash before his eyes. The heavy box he was holding just now is suddenly gone. The air goes dead quiet all of a sudden. A dozen gang thugs freeze in their carrying positions, holding nothing but thin air, staring at each other in confusion. What the hell? Where's the box? Holy crap, this is haunted. Brother Long, something's wrong. The goods are gone, all of them. The bald boss rushes over, staring at the empty warehouse. The expression on his face goes from anger to terror, then to utter disbelief. Who? Who did this? Get the hell out here. He pulls out his pistol, waving it wildly at the air. Me, meanwhile, already climbed over the port fence during the chaos and vanished into the night. 24-hour countdown. The city is still noisy on its final day. No one knows this is the last glow of the old world. The meteorological station issued a blue cold wave warning. Temperatures are expected to drop 10 to 15 degrees tomorrow. No one takes it seriously. At most, they just need to wear an extra pair of long johns. I don't go out again. I stay in my West Side fortress doing final checks. All doors and windows are welded shut, leaving only the main entrance. I turn on my phone and take one last look at my WeChat moments. Jingqing posted a status an hour ago. Even though winter is coming, my heart is warm. Thanks for the surprise, senior. The future looks bright. Some people can just rot with their stinky money. I smile, a huge bright grin. I hit the like button, then leave a comment under it. Enjoy the last of this nice wind. It'll get really enthusiastic soon. Right at this moment, the drizzling rain outside the window suddenly stops. Right after that, a hailstone the size of a ping pong ball slams hard against the security glass. Then comes the second, the third. Hail pours down like bullets. Right on its heels came strong winds, howling wildly as the temperature started plunging sharply. A breaking news alert pops up on the phone screen. Breaking news. Due to an extremely powerful polar vortex, global temperatures will drop 50 degrees in the next 3 hours. All residents must return home immediately. Return home right now. This is not a drill. It's only 10 minutes since the apocalypse hit. The world outside the window has already changed color. In a very short span of time, the road is covered with a thick layer of black ice. More than a dozen cars crashed into each other and burst into flames instantly. But before the fire could spread, it was suppressed by the freezing cold air and entered a weird frozen state. People in the cars panicked and tried to push doors open to escape, but the doors were already frozen shut. Some people smashed the windows and climbed out. The moment they touched the outside air, all heat seemed to be drained from their bodies. Their movements froze right away. The terrified look on their faces was solidified, turning them into lifelike ice sculptures one after another. The indoor thermometer shows the outside temperature has dropped below -30 degrees, and it's still falling at a rate of 1 degree per minute, while the safe house stays at a constant 24 degrees. I took off my coat and only wore a thin t-shirt and popped a perfectly cooked slice of Wagyu beef into my mouth. It felt so good. Meanwhile, in a luxury apartment in the city center. It's so cold, what's going on? Why did the heating stop? Jingqing wrapped herself in the newly bought cashmere quilt, but was still shivering badly from cold. Just now, the heating system of the whole community broke down due to burst pipes. The indoor temperature has dropped to -5 degrees, though it's not cold enough to kill people. For the spoiled Jingqing, it's already hell. Senior, do something quickly. We're gonna freeze to death. She nudged Chenxue next to her. Chenxue was also freezing terribly. He was frantically putting all clothes on himself, Stop yelling, I'm cold too. How the hell did this weather change out of nowhere? Hurry up and check if we have any hand warmers. All hand warmers are in that box. Jingqing pointed to the corner. The two rummaged in a fluster, only to find fewer than 10 hand warmers left. That's not enough to last us through the night. Oh right, your brother. Your brother is rich, right? He must be staying in a big hotel, or bought some heating equipment. Call him right now. Jingqing felt like she grabbed a life-saving straw. She shakily picked up the phone and dialed my number. Sorry. The number you dialed is switched off. Fuck. Jingqing angrily threw the phone on the sofa. That bastard. How dare he turn off his phone? Calm down, calm down. Chen Shu's eyes flickered with thoughts. I just remembered. I saw your brother at the South City wholesale market before. I was far away, but I vaguely heard him keep mentioning West Suburb and a factory. There's an abandoned factory right over there. He must be hiding there at a time like this. Let's go find him. It's snowing so heavily outside right now. Jingqing looked at the terrifying snowstorm outside the window and hesitated a little. If we don't go, we're just waiting to die. This snow won't stop anytime soon. In a few more hours, all the water pipes in the house will freeze and burst. We have a car. The car has a heater. As long as we find your brother, with your system and my brain, we can definitely take him down. Then all his supplies will be ours. Greed defeated fear. The two wrapped themselves in all their clothes and stumbled downstairs with difficulty and climbed into the car. The car started. The moment warm air blew out, both of them breathed a sigh of relief. Let's go to West Suburb. A cruel glint flashed in Jingqing's eyes. When we meet Jing Bufan, I'll make him kneel in the snow and apologize to me and beg me to forgive his previous rudeness. Meanwhile, at West Suburb right now, I was staring at a corner of the monitor screen. A few stray dogs were huddled together there, shivering. Suddenly, one of the dogs started convulsing violently. Its eyes were instantly filled with blood and turned bright red. A shrill, unearthly howl rang across the wilderness. That mutated zombie suddenly pounced on its companions beside it. Blood splattered all over the snow and instantly freeze into red ice crystals. This isn't some ordinary virus. It's the extreme cold corpse plague. They aren't afraid of the cold. The colder it gets, the more excited they are. I put down my chopsticks. It's finally here. I stand up, walk over to the control console, and press that red button. Level 1 combat defense mode activated. The high-voltage power grid on the factory's first outer defense line gets powered up instantly. Blue electric arcs crackle loudly in the wind and snow. I pick up my wine glass and raise a distant toast to the snowstorm on the monitor. Welcome to hell, my guests. The blizzard in the western suburbs has turned into a full-on white disaster. Visibility is less than 5 meters. A white BMW X5 moves like a drunk man, crawling slowly on the road covered in half a meter of snow. Why aren't we there yet? You said it was only 20 kilometers away, right? Jingqing is sitting in the passenger seat, wrapped in 2 down quilts, still chattering her teeth like crazy from the cold. Shut up. Chen Shu's hands on the steering wheel have gone completely numb. They're covered in purplish frostbite. The GPS says we're almost there. Damn it, I can't see the road at all. A sharp crack sounds. The car suddenly sinks down, then dies completely. The undercarriage is stuck on a hard ice rock in the middle of the road. The car's broken. Chen Shu slams the steering wheel in despair, but his hand hits the ice-cold leather cover, making him wince in sharp pain. What? Jingqing screams out loud. Do you want me to die out here? Chen Shu, you useless loser. Shut up! You drive if you're so good at it. Chen Shu's survival instinct has kicked in, overriding his usual polite pretense. Get out of the car. That dark shadow ahead should be the factory. We'll walk over. The two have no other choices right now. Staying in the car means they'll definitely freeze to death. They wrap their quilts tighter around themselves, like 2 clumsy penguins, and stumble into the wind and snow. Jingqing feels like her lungs are gonna freeze and burst. Every breath is pure torture. It's just 500 meters, a trip that takes a few minutes normally, but it took them a whole half hour to walk it. When that abandoned factory, which looks like a giant steel beast, comes into view, the two practically crawl to the gate on their knees. But the sight in front of them leaves them stunned. This is no abandoned factory at all. It's clearly a steel fortress. The old shabby red brick walls are completely covered in a layer of silver-gray metal. Shencha runs up to the huge solid steel gate and bangs on the door like crazy. Jing Bufan. Jing Bufan. I know you're in there. Open the door, bro. It's Jingqing. I'm gonna freeze to death. Hurry up and let me in. Jing Bufan, it's Chen Shu. We're family. How can you leave us to die? The two scream at the top of their lungs. Their voices are quickly swallowed up by the howling wind. Inside, I'm sitting on a huge leather sofa. In front of me is a whole wall of monitor screens. On the footage, two blurry red thermal imaging figures are pressed against the gate, like two pathetic little flies. I'm holding a glass of freshly decanted Lafitte in my hand, swirling it gently. Next to me, red oil is bubbling in a small copper pot, giving off an irresistibly spicy aroma. System, turn on the external speaker. A soft system chime confirms it's activated. The speaker outside the gate makes a static noise, scaring the two of them. Right after that, a lazy, calm voice, with a hint of amusement in it, rings out through the wind and snow. Who is it? Don't you know disturbing people at midnight is illegal? Hearing that voice, Jingqing burst into tears instantly. Bro, it's me. I'm your little sister. Open the door, it's freezing out here. We're gonna die out here. Sister? My voice is slow and unhurried, followed by a loud slurp. This duck intestine is a little overcooked. Who did you say you were again? Jingqing outside almost chokes on her own breath. I'm out here freezing like a stray dog, and you're inside eating hot pot. And you're eating duck intestines? That stupid imagination of hers makes her salivate instantly, and her stomach growls embarrassingly loud. Jingbu fan, stop playing dumb. I know you can hear me. I'm Jingqing, your only biological sister. Open the door right now. I'll explain everything that happened before once I get inside. It was all a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I put down my chopsticks, picked up the microphone, stared at the distorted face on the screen. My gaze turned cold in an instant. Telling me to get lost is a misunderstanding. Or you telling me to die like a dog in front of you is also a misunderstanding. That was just angry talk. Jingqing panicked. Bro, you're a man. Why are you being so narrow-minded? I was wrong in the past. It's my fault. I'm apologizing to you now. Okay, I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry, okay. Just open the door already. That's not an apology at all. It's clearly an order. From his point of view, as long as he swallowed his pride and said those 3 words, I had to forgive him. That's the rule we've followed for 20 years. Too bad the rule has changed. If apologies worked, what do we need cops for? I let out a cold sneer. Since you're so tough. Use your strongest power to break in. Don't you have the erase system? This door is in your way, right? Erase it then. That line hit Jingqing like a bolt of lightning. Oh, right. I have the system. He was so frozen stupid that he forgot he had the system too. Fine, if you won't open the door, I'll open it myself. Don't beg me later. A flash of malice crossed Jingqing's eyes. He took a deep breath, slammed his frozen hand onto the alloy door. Power surged inside his body. Erase! A red beam burst from his palm and slammed hard against the door panel. But the expected scene of the door vanishing never happened. Instead, the red beam hit an invisible wall and bounced back instantly. The impact numbed Jingqing's arm, and he fell backwards onto the snow. System warning, target object density is too high, and reinforced by high-level energy. Space anchored. Host's current LVE level cannot erase target. Forced erasure will consume life force. No way, that's impossible. Jingqing couldn't believe his eyes as he stared at the completely unmoving door. My system is the strongest. How? How can I not even open a stupid door? My ruthless laughter came through the loudspeaker. Forgot to tell you, I spent $5 million on aerospace-grade alloy for this door, and my system happens to counter yours. Your erase power can't get rid of my stored supplies. Now get lost. Don't get the snow outside my door dirty. Loudspeaker turned off. Right after that, the searchlights above the door suddenly turned on. 2 blinding bright lights shone directly at the 2 people's faces, so bright they couldn't open their eyes. Jingqing sat in the snow, feeling the bone-deep cold, staring at the door he could never open. For the first time, he felt what real despair was. Half an hour passed. Jingqing and Chenshu didn't leave, because their car broke down. They could only huddle in a wind-sheltered groove by the factory gate. What do we do? I can't feel my feet. Jingqing's lips had turned dark purple. Ice beads hung all over his eyelashes. Chenshu had it even worse. He gave Jingqing one of his already few clothes. Now he was shaking violently all over. His eyes were already starting to glaze over. Don't sleep! You won't wake up if you fall asleep. Just then, from above their heads, an unbelievably rich, mouth-watering aroma drifted out. The 2 of them struggled to lift their heads. Wanna eat? I stood on the second-floor terrace, holding the half-eaten hot pot in my hand. Chimbu fan, please. Give me a bite. Just a sip of hot soup. Chenshu finally broke down. He knelt in the snow, kowtowing madly up at me. I used to teach you how to play basketball. For the sake of old times. Save me, Bufin. I smiled. Picked up a piece of freshly cooked fatty beef with my chopsticks. When you locked me out back then, did you care about old times? I loosened my grip, the steaming, oil-dripping fatty beef fell in front of the two of them, into the dirty pile of chicken blood. Chenshu almost subconsciously lunged to grab it, but Jingqing was faster. Grabbed the blood-stained piece of meat and stuffed it straight into his mouth. He swallowed it without even chewing. The burst of heat right then made her let out a satisfied moan. Is it tasty? Super tasty. Qingxing nodded with tears running down her face. Now that you're full, get the hell out of here. My security system detected. Some little critters were lured over by the smell just now. Before the two of them could react, in the wind and snow in the distance, several pairs of glowing green eyes suddenly lit up. Low growls drifted over with the wind. They were those mutated zombie dogs. Run! Run fast! Chenshu reacted the quickest, yanked Jingxing up and tried to dash outside. But the ground was covered in ice and snow. Both of them slipped and fell hard flat on their faces. One zombie dog had already lunged at them, its gaping jaws going straight for Chenshu's thigh. Help! Jinbufan! Chenshu screamed like a stuck pig for help. He kicked the dog as hard as he could, but it felt no pain at all. At this critical moment, a vicious glint flashed in Chenshu's eyes. He grabbed the banner next to him and shoved it hard into the dog's mouth, then used the momentum to roll aside. Senior, what are you doing? Jingqing screamed in terror. She watched that stinking, massive mouth, about to bite her neck off. At the moment between life and death, her will to survive beat out her fear. Jingqing stared hard at the dog head lunging at her. That red icon in her mind was flashing like crazy. She roared in her head, disappear right now. That huge Tibetan Mastiff head, when it was just 1 centimeter away from Jingqing's nose, was erased instantly, leaving only half of the headless dog corpse, which slammed down hard on Jingqing, nearly crushing her so hard she spat blood. Host killed level 1 mutated creature, rewarded. 10 EXP points, stamina exhaustion warning. Jingqing felt like all her strength was drained. Her vision went black, and she almost passed out. But she survived. This show is kinda interesting. I put down the binoculars in my hand. A playful glint crossed my eyes. Since you don't want to leave, I'll show you a way out. My voice rang out again, with a devilish, seductive tone. Walk 200 meters east. There's a security booth where the old gate guard used to live. Though the glass is broken, it at least has a roof. That's your only chance to survive tonight. Right after that, the window closed completely, leaving only the two of them shivering in the dark, and more green eyes gathering around them. Let's go to the security booth. Jingqing pushed the dog corpse off her and stumbled to her feet. She didn't even glance at Chenshu. That push just now, she would remember that. The two of them made it just a second before the zombie dog surrounded them, scrambling and crawling towards the rundown security booth. The security booth was tiny and drafty from all sides. They used scrap wooden boards and old newspapers to block the windows roughly, then slumped on the dusty floor, gasping for air. Jingqing, are you okay? Chenshu leaned over to grab Jingqing's hand, with a flattering smile on his face. Earlier I was trying to push it away, not push you. Don't get me wrong. Get lost! Jingqing shook off his hand coldly after what just happened. Her innocent, sweet girl facade finally cracked a little, revealing her selfish, cold-blooded true nature underneath. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. Chenshu, I only put up with you before 'cause you're handsome and got good grades. Now you're just a useless loser. Jingqing leaned against the corner of the wall, eyes closed, recovering her strength. From now on, if you dare touch me again, I'll blow your head off just like that dog. Chenshu froze all over. A hint of resentment flashed in his eyes, but he quickly hid it. He knew that Jingqing now had that terrifying erasure system in her hand. Killing him would be as easy as pie. He could only hold it in. At the same time, in the basement of the safe house 200 meters away, I was lying in a constant temperature massage bathtub, holding a tablet in my hand. Though the public network was down, the military-grade satellite receiver I installed still picked up signals from all over the world. On the screen, news from all over the world was scrolling non-stop. Urgent announcement for Huaxia region. The country has activated the highest-level emergency response plan. All official public shelters are now open. All survivors head to the nearest local shelters in the city. Location, shelter number 7 at East City Sports Center. I stared at this coordinate. In my past life, it was indeed the largest official stronghold in the early days. But because there were way too many people there, supplies ran out extremely fast. Plus, the management was a total mess. In less than a month, the infamous granary riot broke out. Tens of thousands of people died. Looks like the course of history hasn't changed at all. I turned off the news and opened the system interface. Current stockpiled goods total, 32,000 tons. System level, LV1. EXP, 0% upgrade requirement, collect 10 level 1 zombie cores. Zombie cores in my past life? People didn't know until the 3rd month of the apocalypse that the cores in zombies' heads can boost superpowers. But I already know that right now, that idiot Jing-Ching was only focused on killing the dog to save his life just now, and left the most valuable loot in the snow. That's my EXP pack. Can't let that go to waste. I put on a light, warm nano combat suit, picked up my tactical suit. I decided to take a little stroll outside. On this first night of the raging blizzard, I'm gonna collect my first bucket of gold and drop by to check on those 2 watchdogs to see if they froze to death. I was wearing a fully enclosed nano-heating combat suit, moving across the western suburbs wasteland. 50 meters ahead, those zombie dogs were circling the security booth, 7 in total. I regulated my breathing, suddenly rushed out from behind the snowdrift I was hiding in, into the open. The first zombie dog was still growling at the security booth. It didn't even realize what was happening, before my axe was already upon it. A dull thud echoed. The tactical axe split right through its hard skull. Killed level 1 zombie dog, EXP Ply-Fi. This noise immediately alerted the other 6 vicious dogs. The largest Tibetan Mastiff leading the pack. Zombie suddenly turned its head, its glowing dark green eyes fixed firmly on me. It pushed off with its hind legs. Its huge body rammed at me like a tank. The second it was half a meter away from pouncing on me, I pointed my left hand at the ground under the Tibetan Mastiff's feet. In that split second, the 2-meter-wide ice layer under the Mastiff's feet vanished into thin air along with the frozen soil. The Mastiff lost support under its feet and fell straight down into the hole. Strike while the iron's hot. I jumped down into the pit right after it. The tactical axe in my hand drew an arc in the air. The sharp blade cut right into the Mastiff's weak neck joint. Its hideous dog head rolled off. Killed elite zombie dog. EXP plus 20. Dropped item. Level 1 strength core. Plus 1. I was overjoyed. I squatted down and held back my nausea as I groped around in the Mastiff's skull, and soon pulled out a fingernail-sized crystal that glowed faintly red. This is the hardest currency in the apocalypse. It's the source of zombies' power, and the key to human evolution. The remaining 5 zombie dogs above the pit were still barking wildly, but didn't dare come down because they were afraid of the deep pit. I looked up and put on a cruel smile. Don't rush, come one by one. You're all my EXP prizes. With a flick of my mind, I took from my space a modified nail gun. For the next 5 minutes, I stood at the bottom of the pit like I was at target practice. Combat ended. I climbed out of the pit. I searched all the corpses thoroughly. Pretty good luck. The 7 dogs gave me 3 cores in total. The system EXP bar has already risen to 45%. I tossed the cores into my space. I walked towards the security booth. It was completely empty. Inside, only messy footprints left, and a line of words carved into the wall with fingernails. Jingbufan, just you wait. They're pretty tough to still be alive. I let out a disdainful sneer. I'm not worried at all. Those 2 little grasshoppers can't make any big waves. In this apocalypse, being alive is usually way more painful than being dead, especially for those 2 who have ambitions higher than the sky, but lives thinner than paper. Since they went to the official shelter, they should enjoy the blessings there properly. That's the real hell on earth. I turned around and left, my figure disappearing into the wind and snow. This trip out not only proved my combat power, but also made me sure of one thing. In this world where all rules are broken, as long as you're ruthless and strong enough, this is my playground. And my next target is the First People's Hospital in downtowns. There are not only zombies there, but also the antiviral serum I urgently need. Though it can't cure the apocalypse virus, it works for ordinary flu and infections. That's extremely critical in the early stage. Meanwhile, at the East City Sports Center, it has been converted into a temporary shelter. Thousands of survivors are crowded at the entrance. Cries, curses, and calls for help are all mixed together. Fully armed soldiers are nervously maintaining order. Stop crowding, line up for temperature checks. Anyone with wounds will be isolated immediately. Supplies are limited. Each person can only get 1 bowl of porridge per day. If you want to eat your fill, sign up for the search and rescue team. Qingzhou and the Qingzhou are haggard, squeezed in the crowd. Stop! What are you doing? A soldier stops the 2 who are trying to cut the line. I'm an awakened. Yin King looks like she has grabbed a lifeline, waving her hands wildly and shouting, I have superpowers. I'm special. Let me in. I want to see your commanding officer. The soldier pauses for a second at the word awakened, though the higher-ups did issue a notice, saying we need to screen people with special abilities. Too many people have pretended to be awakened these days. Prove it, says the soldier coldly. Jing takes a deep breath, fighting off dizziness from exhaustion and hunger, facing a huge roadblock stone boulder by the roadside, and holds out her hand. Disappear. A red light flashes. The hundreds of kilos stone boulder vanishes into thin air instantly, as if it never existed. The surrounding crowd falls silent immediately. The soldier's pupils shrink violently, and picks up his walkie-talkie right away. At the entry checkpoint, we found a space type, erasure type, awakened, requesting orders. 5 minutes later, Qingqing and Chenshu are led into a warm office. The person sitting behind the desk is a middle-aged man in a military overcoat. He looks Qingqing up and down, and says your ability is erasing things. Supervisor Wang twists a pen in his hand. How big an object can you erase? Can you erase living people? Anything within a 2-meter diameter can be erased. Finally feeling the heating, Qingqing speaks a little more smoothly now. I can kill living people too. On the way here just now, I killed a mutant Tibetan Mastiff. Sir, I'm a combat-type ability user. I want a private room. I want meat to eat. Supervisor Wang laughs, with an expression like he just heard the funniest joke. Combat-type little girl. You think you're invincible just because you killed a dog? He stands up, walks to the window, pointing at the dense zombie horde outside. There are tens of thousands of zombies now. Your ability can only kill one at a time, and you'll collapse after using it a few times. It's totally worthless on the battlefield. A sniper can do the same thing with one shot. Why would we send you to die? Qingqing's face goes stiff immediately, but Supervisor Wang changes his tone, his gaze falling on the snow-covered runway outside. Your ability is not good for killing monsters, but it's perfect for other work. Heavy snow has blocked all roads now. Supply trucks can't get in. The airport runway is also buried under snow. We need to clear a life passage. Your ability is literally a god-tier skill for shoveling snow. Snow shoveling? Qingqing feels utterly humiliated. I'm the female lead with a cheat ability. I'm destined to be the queen of the apocalypse. How dare you let me work as a cleaner? I won't do it. I'm an ability user. How can you humiliate me like this? Won't do it. The smile on Supervisor Wang's face vanishes instantly. No work, no food here. Even awakened ones get paid according to their work. You can choose not to work, then get the hell back to the snow outside. He waves his hand. The 2 soldiers beside him step forward immediately. Their gun muzzles are raised slightly. Chenshu is so scared that his legs go weak. He quickly grabs Qingqing's sleeve and tries hard to signal her with his eyes. Qingqing, don't be impulsive. Stay first, just survive for now. Qingqing looks at the dark gun muzzles and thinks of the hellish cold outside. Her pride is completely shattered. I'll do it. She grits her teeth and lowers her head in humiliation. Half an hour later, Qingqing was assigned to the special cleanup team. His code is 098 and his job is super simple. Stand in front of the engineering vehicle, facing the 1-meter-thick snow and ruins ahead. Keep using his ability to clear the snow wall in front. Once a section is cleared, the fleet moves forward a short distance. Every time he uses his ability, he feels like his whole body is totally drained. Hurry up, what are you dawdling for? The fleet behind is waiting. The foreman yelled into the loudspeaker. Even if he slowed down a little bit, he would get a harsh scolding right to his face. Chenshu, on the other hand, had no special abilities, so he was assigned to the lowest-level transport team. His task was to carry people who froze to death or were bitten to death to the incineration pit. The stench there was strong enough to knock you out, and there was a constant risk of infection. But to stay alive, to get that half-piece of moldy steamed bun, he could only suck it up. Late at night, the 2 of them collapsed on the communal bunk under the gym bleachers. Hundreds of people were crammed here. The smell of sweat and stinky feet mixed together. Qingqing looked at his red, swollen, and festering hands. Tears kept rolling down his face. This isn't how it's supposed to be. I have the system, for crying out loud. I literally came back from the dead to be reborn. He thought of Jing Bufan. And that warm fireplace back then. You must be so smug right now, Jing Bufan. Qingqing gripped the dirty blanket tightly. His nails dug right into his flesh. Just you wait. Once I climb up the ranks, once I meet the top commander here, I'll make you spit out everything you took from me. Meanwhile, on the square in front of the city hospital, it was packed with frozen zombies. These things weren't dead at all. The second they sense a living human's body heat, they will wake up immediately. System activate. Elite barrier. I used a small amount of energy. To create a sound insulation layer around my body, I used a grappling hook to climb straight to the third-floor window. The third floor was the pharmacy. There were fewer zombies here. After taking out a few wandering nurse zombies, I walked up to the shelves. My hand swept across rows of medicines. They disappeared instantly. When I was halfway through looting, intense gunshots came from downstairs. I walked to the window and looked down. 2 modified armored trucks had just smashed through the hospital gate. 7 or 8 heavily armed thugs were shooting at the zombies. The logo on the trucks was a black shark. Black Shark Gang, it's these guys again. Looks like they also realized how important medicine is. They came to rob under the cover of night. What a small world we live in. I let out a cold laugh. I didn't rush to leave. Instead, I found a comfortable position, leaned against the window, to watch the show going on downstairs. The Black Shark Gang had very heavy firepower. They cleared a path pretty quickly, headed straight for the lobby elevator. But the gunshots were way too loud. Not just the zombies on the square, even zombies from several surrounding blocks were drawn over by the noise. Just as the Black Shark Gang members rushed into the lobby, the ground suddenly exploded. A giant zombie over 3 meters tall, with bulging muscles all over its body, burst out from underground. It was a Tier 2 mutant, Tyrant Strength type. My pupils contracted slightly. Tier 2 mutants are appearing this early. What the hell is that monster? The Black Shark Gang members were terrified out of their wits. Several AK rifles fired at the same time. The bullets hit the tyrant's body, but only left a few small bloody spots. The tyrant roared loudly. It grabbed an abandoned stretcher nearby and threw it over like a frisbee. 2 Black Shark Gang underlings were smashed into pulp instantly. The scene got out of control right away. Perfect opportunity, my eyes lit up. That tyrant's Tier 2 crystal core can let me level up straight away, and there's a high chance I'll awaken a new skill. I waited patiently for the Black Shark Gang to wear down the tyrant's strength. 5 minutes later, the lobby went quiet. All 7 Black Shark Gang members were dead, and that tyrant was also badly injured. It was huffing and puffing heavily, lying on the ground, eating corpses to recover from its injuries. Now's the time. I leaped down from the 3rd floor like a shadow. I took a bundle of TNT from my space midair, lit the fuse. Here's a big gift for you. The tyrant opened its big mouth, subconsciously thought it was food, bit down on it in one go, tumbled and fell to the ground, hid behind the load-bearing column. The violent explosion shook the whole building. When the dust cleared, the tyrant's entire head was completely gone, leaving only a huge headless corpse, lying in a pool of blood. I walked over, rummaging through the piles of minced meat. Finally found a walnut-sized crystal core, gained level 2 strength. Crystal core count +1. High purity energy source detected. Absorb now to level up? Yes. The crystal core in my hand instantly turned into a warm current, drilling into my palm. I felt all the bones in my body crackling. Power was surging wildly inside me. System upgrade successful. Current level LV2. Unlocked new ability, Space Blade. Basic level consumes mental power. Creates in real space a 1-meter-long space rift. Ignores physical defense. Cuts through any object. Ignores all defenses. I looked at my palm. With a flick of my mind, a pitch-black thin line appeared at my fingertip. I gently pointed toward the side, the thick armor of that riot control vehicle, and swiped. The hard steel plate was cut like tofu, leaving a smooth cut right through it. It's absurdly powerful. I put away my ability satisfactorily, glanced at the 2 idling armored vehicles. Inside the cars were full of supplies the Black Shark Gang looted these days. Thanks, guys. I waved at the corpses on the ground. The whole load, including the cars. I'm taking all of it. This trip to the hospital got me medicine, leveled me up, and got me a huge windfall. This is how the apocalypse should be. Day 15 of the apocalypse. Official shelter number 7. The air here no longer circulates. The air reeks of sour stench and the mildew of despair. The gym that once held 50,000 people now has less than 30,000 left. Order has completely collapsed. When the generator died completely, the last glimmer of civilized light vanished. In the dark, people are no longer human. They're hungry beasts. We're out of food. Open the hatch. The officer's eating all the good stuff inside alone, and makes us eat tree bark. The riot broke out of nowhere. Thousands of starving, red-eyed survivors broke through the guards' defense line, flooded toward the core management area. Gunshots, screams, and biting sounds blended together. Jing-Ching huddled in the corner of the stands, gripping tight her already blunted snow shovel. She's been living a hellish life this week. Her once fair hands were covered in frostbite and blisters. That lightness skill system turned her into a high-intensity coolie. Ching-Ching Run. This place is done for. Chenshu ran over covered in blood. I heard the monster horde outside broke through the defense. This place will be a death trap soon. Run? Where to? Jingqing stared at the blizzard outside in despair. It's minus 60 degrees outside. You die the second you step out. Go to the west suburb, find your brother. Chenshu grabbed her shoulder, shook her hard. I've figured it out. It didn't work when just the two of us went before. But what if we bring these thousands of people with us? No matter how solid your brother's fortress is, can it stop the army and thousands of lunatics? Ting froze. Chenshu's voice sounded like a devil's whisper. You know Director Wang has several armored vehicles and heavy weapons, right? If you tell him, there's a place in the west suburbs stacked with supplies, an underground fortress with heating and power. What do you think he'll do? Jingqing's expression changed, from despair to resentment, and finally to crazy determination. Yeah, why am I struggling in hell? While you Jingbu fan live a good life in heaven. Since you refuse to open the door to save me, I'll bring hell right to your door. If we're gonna die, we all die together. Inside the core office, Director Wang was sweating profusely, ordering his men to destroy documents and prepare for evacuation. Sir, I know a place. Xing bursting. Ignoring the guns pointed at her, she shouted loudly, I know where there's supplies. Tens of thousands of tons of supplies. Generators too. An absolutely safe defense works. Director Wang turned around sharply, staring at her fiercely. What did you say? If you dare lie to me, I'll blow your head off right now. I'm not lying. That's my own brother's place. He's a stockpiling type awakened. He emptied all cold storages in the city before the apocalypse. It's at the abandoned factory in West Suburb. As long as we take that place down, we get to live. Everyone gets to live. Director Wang's eyes lit up. It was the greedy glint of someone seeing a lifeline in despair. Good, very good. Pass the order down. Listen up, everyone. If you don't want to die, if you don't want to starve, all of you move out now. Target West Suburb. Whoever takes the place first can take whatever supplies they want inside. The news spread like wildfire in the shelter. There's a granary in West Suburb, a selfish rich kid. Hoarded tens of thousands of tons of meat. Charge over and rob him blind. The rioters that were killing each other earlier suddenly got a common target. Half an hour later, a team led by 5 armored vehicles, followed by more than a dozen modified trucks. And behind them, thousands of survivors marched in a huge crowd. Rushed into the blizzard, Jingqing sat in the leading armored vehicle, holding a compressed biscuit given by Director Wang. A cruel smirk tugged at her lips, brother. I brought an army here to pay you a New Year visit this time. Let's see if you still dare keep the door closed. At the very end of the team, the zombie horde, drawn by the scent of living people, followed quietly behind. The Grim Reaper is closing in. The alarm of the steel fortress didn't go off. Instead, an intense symphony of destiny was playing. I wore a full black tactical windbreaker, stood by the bulletproof floor-to-ceiling window on the second floor, holding a glass of red wine in my hand, overlooking the distance, the long line wriggling in the snow. You're finally here. Looking at the dense red dots on the monitor screen, the corner of my mouth curled up. A warning popped up on the system interface. Large-scale hostile targets detected approaching. Enemy force, equipped with 5 armored vehicles, 3 heavy machine guns, RPG rocket launchers, 12 awakened powers, and over 3,000 armed rioters. Targets following from behind. 5,000 level 1 zombies, 3 level 2 mutants. They really think highly of me. I took a small sip of red wine. I wasn't panicked at all. I was even a little excited. I've been bored out of my mind at home these days, other than upgrading my powers. All I did was watch old movies. That thrill of dancing on the edge of a knife is the greatest fun of the apocalypse. The convoy stopped 500 meters away from the factory. Director Wang's voice came from the loudspeaker. Xing Bufan inside. Listen up. We're the official search and rescue team of Shelter 7. We're requisitioning your supplies and shelter according to law. I want you to immediately lay down your weapons. Open the gate. As long as you cooperate, we'll give you the title of Special Consultant and guarantee your safety. Special Consultant. I scoffed into the microphone. You mean special slave, right? My voice spread across the whole crowd through the speakers, full of undisguised sarcasm. Director Wang, right? I remember in my past life. Oh no, I remember you love slicing up awakened people for research the most. Want to study my space power this time? Director Wang's face darkened. He didn't expect the guy to be so stubborn. You refuse the toast, then you'll get the forfeit. Jingqing, you said you can get him to open the door, right? Go talk to him. Let me see what family bond is worth. Jingqing was pushed forward. She stood on top of the armored vehicle with a loudspeaker, Jing Bufan, you're surrounded. Look at these people. They're starving to death. You're hoarding all these supplies by yourself. Don't you feel guilty at all? Open the gate now. We'll still remember your kindness. Or when we break in, you'll be torn to pieces. Torn to pieces. I shook my head. My finger gently rested on a red button on the control panel. Little sister, you're still so naive. You think bringing all these people here threatens me? No, you're bringing me free roadblocks. Open fire! Director Wang lost his patience. An RPG rocket roared towards the factory gate, but right before it hit the gate, an invisible barrier lit up. The rocket hit it like it hit a mirror. It veered around weirdly and flew straight toward a nearby truck. The truck, loaded full of rioters, was blown to scrap metal in an instant. What? Everyone was stunned. Fight back! Open fire! Countless bullets rained down on the wall, but they only sparked little flashes, barely scratching off any of the paint. I snapped my fingers. It's my turn. Then I pressed the button. Defense System Sequence 2. Minefield activated. Right under the leading rioters' feet, the snow ground caved in suddenly. Hundreds of mines exploded one after another. The snow was dyed red instantly. Hundreds of people were wiped out right away. Retreat! Retreat now! The crowd scrambled backward in terror, but people at the back were still rushing forward. The scene descended into total chaos in a second. Right at this moment, on the snowfield behind them, deafening roars could be heard. Drawn by the explosions and the smell of blood, over 1,000 zombies finally showed their fangs. Driven mad by the scent of blood, they charged into the back of the crowd like wild beasts. Shit! Zombies! There are zombies behind us. We're trapped between two enemies. Jingting, hurry! Use your power to clear the minefield ahead, quick! Supervisor Wang was frantic with rage. He pressed a gun to Jingqing's head. Jingqing was shaking all over from fear. He desperately used his power to clear the area ahead, but the minefield was way too big. His stamina was nowhere near enough to get it done. In less than a minute, his nose started bleeding heavily, and he collapsed on the roof of the car. I can't do it anymore. I really can't. Useless trash, Supervisor Wang kicked him off the car. He climbed into the armored vehicle trying to turn around and run, but there's no way I'd let him get away. You all came here, so leave something behind. I stood on the terrace and lifted my right hand, aimed at the turning armored vehicle, and grabbed thin air, space blade. A visible black crack sliced through the air. There was no sound at all. The 10-something-ton armored vehicle, along with Supervisor Wang inside, was cut clean in half right through the middle. The whole place went dead silent. Everyone was stunned by the power of that attack. Is this the power of a god? Shenshu hid among the piles of dead bodies, staring at the godlike man standing high above. His pants got wet instantly from fear. The battle lasted a full 3 hours, except for a few who fled deep into the snow during the chaos. The whole 3,000-strong force was almost completely wiped out. Dead bodies littered the ground everywhere. The heat from the blood melted the snow, which quickly froze into a thick layer of red ice, turning this place into a huge open-air morgue. I also mowed down the horde of zombies with a heavy machine gun, and almost took care of all of them. The wind and snow stopped. A pale white moon hung in the sky, lighting up this hell on earth. Only 2 living people were left in front of the gate, Jingqing and Chenshu. They got lucky, since Jingqing was kicked off the car at first, and they both hid under the armored vehicle wreckage playing dead. That's how they survived till now. The gate slowly opened. I was holding that tactical axe in my hand, and walked towards the 2 of them step by step. Brother! Jingqing knelt on the ground, his face covered in blood. He crawled towards me like a dog. I was wrong. I was really wrong. They forced me to come. Supervisor Wang made me come. You know that I've always been a coward. Yeah, they forced us to come. Sing Bufan. Oh, Brother Bufan. Lord Fan, for the sake of our past relationship, just let me go, please. I'll be your slave for the rest of my life. I stopped 2 meters in front of the 2 of them, and said nothing. Instead, I took a table and chairs out of my space. Then I took out a small red clay stove, lit the fire and put a pot on it, poured in water and added the hot pot base. Soon, the spicy aroma spread through the air again. I also took out a plate of thinly sliced lamb and started cooking it slowly in the pot. Want some? I picked up a piece of meat and blew on it to cool it down. Jingqing and Chenshu swallowed hard, their eyes filled with desire, but even more fear. Give me a bite, please. Jingqing begged through tears. This scene feels so familiar. I put the meat in my mouth and chewed it slowly. In my past life, I begged you just like this. On the other side of that door, I begged you to give me a sip of water, even a bite of expired cookie. What did you say to me back then? Jingqing was trembling all over, too scared to say a word. You said supplies are for people who are useful. Trash doesn't deserve to waste air. I put down my chopsticks, staring at them with ice-cold eyes. Now I'm giving this line right back to you. I stood up. The tactical axe in my hand glinted coldly in the moonlight. I called out, Chen Shu. Chen Shu thought he had a way out, so he looked up hurriedly. You love Jingqing, and you're willing to die for her, right, Go? Chen Shu hesitated for a second, glanced at Jingqing next to him. As long as you kill her, I'll let you in to eat hot pot, and even give you a warm room. My voice was full of temptation. I can even give you a purification potion, so you can become an awakened too. A dagger was thrown right in front of Chen Shu. That was the ultimate test of human nature. No! Jingqing looked at Chen Shu in terror, kept stepping back. Dean, you wouldn't do that. We're lovers. Chen Shu stared at the dagger, then looked behind Jing Bufan, at the warm, brightly lit fortress, then looked at the filthy woman in front of him, who was now completely worthless. In that instant, the mask called love was completely shattered. Chen Shu grabbed the dagger sharply and pounced on Jingqing with a ferocious face. Jingqing, you heard that too. As long as you die, I can live. You don't have any supplies anyway. What's wrong with dying for me once? Jingqing let out a scream. Her survival instinct made her burst out her last bit of strength. Even though she was completely exhausted, this strike still hit the dagger in Chen Shu's hand. It vanished into thin air, but he had already pounced on Jingqing, both hands squeezing her neck tightly. Die, die! Don't get in my way. The two fought in a pool of blood, tangled together, biting each other like two wild beasts. Ugly, unspeakably ugly. I watched this scene coldly, like watching a ridiculous play, until both of them were completely exhausted, lying on the ground gasping for air. Jingqing's face was bitten badly. One of Chen Shu's eyes was blind. Wonderful. I clapped my hands. But I lied to you. I walked up to the two of them and raised my axe. My safe house never takes in trash. Amid their desperate screams, I swung the axe down. Blood splattered on the pure white snow, looking like a blooming plum blossom. The grudges of this lifetime were finally coming to an end. I didn't stay for even a moment. I turned around and waved my hand. The corpses on the ground and the distant armored vehicle wreckage were all sent into the system's waste recycling zone. The entrance became completely clean again. I went back inside the house and walked to the huge floor-to-ceiling window, watching the snowstorm still raging outside. The world is already dead, but I'm still alive, and I'm gonna live really well. I took a bottle of fine-stored whiskey from the wine cabinet and poured 2 glasses. I spilled 1 glass on the ground. To honor the stupid me from my past life, I raised the other glass to the sky, toasting this cruel but wonderful new world. Hello, Apocalypse. I'm Jing Bufan, the king of this place.